Hey guys, this is Daniel from Homestead Family Homestead. Hey, this week's my week in the Frugal Family Meals collaboration. If you're not familiar with that, go check out Amanda at the Fundamental Home or Tangi over at Tangi the Caver's Wife. The Frugal Family Food collaboration has been going on for quite some time. This is our second video, and I'll put a link right here and to put a link to our first video. It was several months ago, but if you hadn't seen it, you can go check it out. This month, the month of October, is manly meals, and I had made up my mind on what I was going to do, had gone and bought some stuff, and changed my mind kind of at the last minute, because first off, this is Frugal Family Food and it's manly meals, and my first idea wasn't very frugal, and it also wasn't very manly. It involved a slow cooker, a crock pot, and that's just not real manly. So I kind of changed my mind, changed things up a little bit. So tonight I'm going to be cooking a bacon wrapped meatloaf, mashed potatoes, and green beans. Green beans came from our garden here. The meatloaf, I use a combination of ground beef and ground pork, and both of those we raised the beef ourselves, and we bought the pig that we had butchered off of a friend of ours. So it's homegrown, local stuff. So I'm gonna get started, and got the meat in the microwave defrosting, and show you what I do and show you how we do this. It's gonna be a really good meatloaf, I think. I've got a few little tweaks to it that might be different than what a lot of people do. So stick with me, and we're gonna have some meatloaf tonight. So the first thing I'm doing is sauteing down about half of an onion. I'm going to saute that onion down until it gets nice and sweet, and then we'll add that to our meat. Okay, so we all know when women cook, they use things like recipes and measuring cups and measuring spoons. Manly meals, men cooking is all about winging it and just doing what you do. Okay, so I'm gonna have 1.5 pounds of ground beef and 1 pound of ground pork. Now it's not sausage, it's just ground pork. And I'll have that in a bowl, and in a separate bowl I'm gonna mix up a little bit of a mixture, concoction that you're gonna mix together, and then I'll add to that meat. So let me show you what all that is. Okay. We'll start with a couple eggs, because eggs is your binder in a meatloaf. I'm gonna add in a little Dijon mustard. This is honey flavored Dijon mustard, and a few splashes of Worcestershire sauce, and one special ingredient, a little bit of yogurt. This is a Greek non-fat yogurt. Just plain old yogurt works great. Adds a lot of moisture to your meatloaf. Two eggs, a few splashes of Worcestershire sauce. Looks like a good amount, right? Dijon mustard. A couple big heaping spoonfuls of yogurt. That yogurt will add a lot of moisture to it. Be good stuff. Okay, so I'm just going to mix all these together really well. That Dijon mustard in there kind of smells like a really good salad dressing, but I wouldn't put it on my salad unless you like raw eggs. Okay, so in the bowl goes 1 pound of ground pork, that ground pork just adds a lot of flavor. I love using ground pork. It's pretty lean. We didn't have a lot of fat added to it. It's good stuff though. Okay, and 1.5 pounds of hamburger meat. So I got my hamburger, my beef and my pork mixed together, and I've got my mixture that I added, that I mixed up a while ago. I'm going to add that to the mix and get it all incorporated really well. At this point, this is where you'd want to add in any spices or seasonings that you might like. I don't have any fresh parsley, but parsley goes really well in a meatloaf. Oregano, just whatever kind of seasonings you like. So I'm gonna get this mixed together and add in some seasonings. Okay, I got my onions sauteed down. I like them a little crispy. I love sauteed onions, so I'm gonna add those in. Now, this is one of those ingredients that most of y'all probably don't use. When you're making a meatloaf, most people use breadcrumbs or cracker crumbs. Try switching it out for oats. Just use quick oats. You'll never know the difference. They're healthier than breadcrumbs, healthier than those crackers. So I'm gonna put a good handful or two of oats in there. And trust me, once you cook this down, you'll never know that those oats are in there. They make a really good binder and a really good replacement for those breadcrumbs. I'm gonna mix all this together. We don't need that wooden spoon. It's a manly meal, right? Okay, so here's the next thing I'm gonna do that makes this a manly meatloaf and not you ladies' meatloaf, okay? I don't have any wax paper, so I'm gonna use tinfoil. I'll lay my meatloaf mixture out on this tinfoil and flatten it out just a little bit, okay? Okay, I got my meatloaf all somewhat semi-flattened out here, okay? Next trick, here it is. I'm using pepper jack cheese. You use whatever kind of cheese you prefer, but we like pepper jack and we had it on hand, so that's what we're going to use tonight. Okay, this is going to be a cheese stuffed meatloaf. So I'm going to put probably about a cup of cheese. And I'm going to take this tinfoil and just fold this thing back onto itself. Like this. And kind of close that meatloaf up. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just close this thing up, shape it. It's a little long for my pan right now, so shorten it up just a little bit. Okay, my meatloaf's in my pan. But I'm not done yet, guys. Remember, I said this was going to be a bacon covered meatloaf. So stick with me. I got one more little sauce that I'm going to mix up and put on top, because you can't just use plain old ketchup. You got to add to it just a little bit. Okay, so the sauce that I'm going to put on top of this meatloaf is really simple. 3 ingredients: ketchup, a little bit of brown sugar, and some apple cider vinegar. Real simple. I'm going to use probably about a 1/4 cup or so of ketchup. And a couple spoonfuls of brown sugar. It's just that sweet, oh, good flavor. And a couple splashes of apple cider vinegar. Because you know you don't have to measure, right? Okay, so mix that up real good. If you like a smoky meatloaf, you could add in a little bit of liquid smoke. If you like it spicy, add in a little bit of, chili powder, or use some Tabasco sauce, whatever you like. You make this what you want. But just plain old ketchup by itself isn't quite enough. Now, in theory, you could layer this whole top of this thing in bacon if you really wanted to use that much bacon. Bacon's probably the most expensive ingredient here, and we don't have a whole lot right now. But the main thing is you just want to get that bacon across the top of this meatloaf so that the juices will cook down into it. Because, bacon fat. Can't be a manly meal without bacon, right? You gotta have some bacon. So I'm just covering the top of this meatloaf, real fancily. Kind of weaving it together like an apple pie crust, right? No? Okay. And I'm going to take my mixture, my ketchup, brown sugar, and apple cider, and just kind of cover the top of this thing. You don't want to use it all, because right when this thing comes out of the oven, when it's hot, You can add a little bit more to the top of that bacon in it. Oh man, it'll be so delicious. So one tip I've got for you on making a meatloaf, okay? A lot of people will use a bread loaf pan, just a loaf pan instead of a bigger pan. I'd actually probably could have put this in a little bit bigger pan. It probably would have been better. Because the trick with meatloaf is you don't want to boil it in its own juices. So if you put it in a small loaf pan where it fits in there real tight, you'll end up just boiling that meatloaf in there. And that's not how you want this thing to cook. You want it to brown up really well on the top. So it's ready to go in the oven. I've got the oven preheated to 350 degrees. Cook this thing for probably about 45 minutes or so, and you can tell when it's done. You'll know. It's not hard to tell. So I'm going to get this thing in the oven. And we're also going to be having some mashed potatoes. So I got those boiling away. And I've got some green beans. I'm going to get that jar open, heat them up. They'll take just a second. They're already cooked. And we're just waiting on the meatloaf now. If you hadn't noticed, it's just been me here. My people are home. My people are here. My people are here. I must go greet them. Let's go see them. Bella, are you excited? Are you excited? What are you choking on? Huh? That's my people! There's one of my people. What? Oh, yeah. There's Emily. What'd y'all do to Houston? It's like 6 o'clock in the evening.
Very tired.
Hey, why are you sleeping? When? Woohoo! Meatloaf! Ooh, that's hot. Oh, look at that. Meatloaf. My bacon's cooked on top. Some juices right there. Take a little bit of that juice and you put it on your mashed potatoes. Delicious. Y'all ready to eat? Oh, yummy, yummy, yummy. What is Houston doing sleeping at supper time? Is he gonna eat?
Hey, dude.
School's rough on this kid, man. Whew, it's just tough.
Hey, bud.
Manly meals, frugal family food, okay? So, is a bacon wrapped, cheese stuffed meatloaf manly enough for you?
Yes.
Pretty manly?
It's pretty manly.
Pretty manly.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm gonna eat it.
Okay.
Pretty alright.